Drive. Today we drive the all-new MG Windsor. Check out Triumph's budget-friendly 400cc motorcycle and the new Tata Curve. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. On the face of it, the MG Windsor isn't to everyone's taste, but it's not the looks that will take you to the MG dealership. In fact, it has stacked in a lot of interesting features and the pricing won't have you digging too deep into your pockets. But then again, all that glitters isn't gold, and this MG Windsor comes with a catch. Here's Kenneth telling you all about it.
MG Motors has a knack for offering cars that have a first-in-segment tag to it, be it the Hector, the Gloucester, or the quirky little Comet for that matter of fact. This here is the latest addition to that portfolio, and it offers something very different from what we've seen before.
Meet the new MG Windsor EV. Better known as the Wuling Cloud EV in other Southeast Asian markets, MG Motors has brought this new energy vehicle to the Indian markets, and it says that it will disrupt the entire competition at this price point with one very key offering, and that is its battery pack. So just like the Comet, you don't get a very big bonnet up front, and you get this LED DRL up here, and the actual headlamp housing is in the lower bumper. Now moving over to the rear, you get quite a decent view with this light bar flowing across and Windsor written in bold to remind you that this car is just as royal as the Windsor Castle in England. Now let's talk about this battery pack. Now there's just one 38 kilowatt-hour battery pack on offer, and MG claims it has a range of about 331 kilometers. But there's a catch. Now while you can buy this car for a relatively affordable price of 9.99 lakh rupees ex-showroom, you will only be able to rent the battery pack. You will be paying MG Motors 3.5 rupees for every kilometer that you drive, and this is part of MG's new subscription-based model. Let's talk about the boot space as well. Now you get a pretty nice boot space, relatively large. It's about 604 liters, and that includes this under storage as well, because you don't get a spare tire here. Now if that's still not good enough for you, you can still fold down those 60-40 split rear seats for more space. Now let's get on the inside. So immediately the first thing that you notice when you get inside is that there is no push button anywhere. All you have to do is fasten your seat belt. That disengages the electronic handbrake, tap the brake, go into drive, and tap the accelerator, and that's how you get going. So that front-mounted electric motor in the Windsor EV produces a mere 136 PS and 200 Newton meters of torque. So heading into it, we did not expect too much on the performance front at all. The accelerator pedal isn't quite sensitive, so you would have to tap it a little harder than you would as compared to any other EVs that you have driven. Now in terms of that performance, there isn't much in the lower end, so you would have to get slightly into the higher speeds to feel more of that 200 Newton meters. Now in terms of visibility, this massive glass house is brilliant in that aspect. The A-pillar isn't too big, the windscreen is massive, and along with these huge windows, they're all quite a sight to take in. Now this instrument cluster is actually quite tiny. I say tiny because it's even smaller than the one you get in the Comet EV. And while it does show more than enough information, my only issue with it is the charge percentage. MG does this with all their EVs, where the battery percentage is a small graphic in the corner of the screen when I actually want it to be a little more visible. Now the MG Windsor EV is marketed as a business class CUV, and the ride quality does hold up to that status. Getting over potholes, it does it quite easily. There aren't too many jitters that go around the cabin, and even taking on speed breakers for that matter of fact, the car doesn't hesitate in any aspect. You kind of get the idea why it's called the Cloud EV in other countries. It feels just as soft. Now we've not been the biggest fan of the Hector's slightly bouncy ride quality on the highways, but in the Windsor it's actually not that bad. Yes, you do hear a little bit of the road noise, but I don't think that's something we would hold up against it.
The Windsor handles pretty well too. It's no sports car, but keeping its shape in mind, it does a good job. Something that surprised me was the very minimal amount of body roll. The car stays planted on the ground provided you're moving at moderate speeds. Go faster and you will most definitely see yourself off the road.
Now you may have noticed that I haven't spoken about the Windsor EV's rear seats at all. Now like I told you, the Windsor EV is marketed as a business class CUV. Now, business class is supposed to cater to people who are slightly above average height as well. Now, while I am almost 6 foot tall, we thought of getting somebody taller.
Thanks, Ken. After a really long time, I'm thinking of agreeing with a marketing tagline any manufacturer has given, and MG is calling this a business class kind of seat, and this actually feels like that because look at the knee room. I'm almost 6'3". The kind of leg space I get is really good in this segment, and then the floor is totally flat. The cushioning is pretty firm. This feels like a very soft, comfortable couch, but this is still firm, and I think for long distance travel this would give you a comfortable ride quality. Then the trump card of this seating is the kind of recline I'm getting, almost 135 degrees of recline, and this is how you can chill or just rest on a long journey.
So what's our final take on the Windsor EV? We think for the price, it's a big deal. It might end up competing with cars like the Nexon EV and XUV 400, but it offers space and quality of a car in a segment higher. It's only the battery part that keeps us on the edge, because ownership here does not mean full ownership. The subscription-based system is a bit too complex to understand, but if you're willing to overlook that aspect, then we think you've met your match.
Well, MG Motors is also offering the battery rental option for the MG Comet as well as the ZS EV. So is that an option that you would be open to considering? Let us know in the comment section on our YouTube channel. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll get you acquainted with Triumph Speed 400 T4 motorcycles. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.